Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. The conflicting judgments from the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is what Spectacle will be looking at today. And it will be open for audience to participate from wherever you are watching us on our various social media platforms. And the numbers will be displayed on the screen for you to reach us, and we'll also be ready to take your online comments as regards this judgment. Is our Supreme Court poised to delivering exact judgment that will favor the yearnings of the electorate? What would be your take so far from the judgment they have delivered? In today's reference, we'll be looking at the review from Bayelsa State judgment that dethroned David Leon on the ground of the forgery allegation against his deputy governor candidate. I am still your host, Daniel Atai. Shortly after this timeout, I'll give you the preamble for you to follow. Stay tuned.
The issue here we have to begin to look at is that at the time of independence, I don't know if there was a trajectory to where we are going to.
But how could it be that credible, free and fair under manual conduct of election?
That is where our problem lies, and that is why people are now saying that, advising that we should move, that the world has gone into digital. We should move from the manual to the digital.
We cannot keep doing same thing and expecting a different result.
The only way you create jobs from your ministry is that you have to encourage local content.
If you look at the profile of Sally Mama,
there is a caveat in this leave given to him. He should seek medical help if he's fine.
Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. Welcome back. You are the electorate and the citizens of this country. You have the right to know, as well as the right to contribute your input towards our democratic governance and dispensation under President Muhammadu Buhari. And with reference to what happened in Bayelsa State and from the verdict of the Supreme Court, these are the different names traceable to the APC deputy governor in Bayelsa that led to the Supreme Court disqualification of the governor. He bore these names at different stages of his life. Mr. Deji Eremienyo's name was written as Deji Biobora in his primary school certificate. The document from his secondary education bore Adeji Biobora Kuma as his name, while that of his university education had Deji Biobora Kuma as his name. Also, his MBA certificate had Deji Biobora Kuma Wangaha as the name of the same person. As the deputy governor-elect, he bore Mr. Deji Eremienyo. Now, why Supreme Court sacked Bayelsa government-elect and his deputy on Thursday, I think last 2 weeks, DG. The Supreme Court on Thursday sacked David Leon, who is the candidate of the Bayelsa State APC for the governorship seat, and Senator Biobara Kuma Deji Eremienyo as the governor and deputy-elect in November 16, 2019, the Bayelsa governorship election. Justice Ejembi Eko, who delivered the lead judgment, reinstated the November 12, 2019 judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja that disqualified Deji Eremionyo from participating in the governorship poll. Don't forget that that judgment was challenged in the High Court, in the Appeal Court, and Deji won from that court. The court held that the trial court was right in finding the deputy guilty of presenting false information to INEC. The Justice Mary Odili-led panel held that no person shall be qualified to contest election if he presented false information for the purpose of election. The Apex Court ordered that the certificate of return be withdrawn immediately from the governor and his deputy and be issued to the candidate with the second highest vote in the November 16, 2019 election. The Apex Court held that the nomination form Deji Eremionyo submitted to INEC for the purpose of the November 16, 2019 governorship election in the state contained false information of fundamental nature. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, had asked the court to regard the discrepancies in Deji Eremionyo's certificates as major impediments to his candidacy. They accused the All Progressive Congress, APC, running mate of providing different names at all levels of his education. The PDP alleged in each case that Mr. Deji Eremionyo's name was written as Deji Biobora in his primary school certificate. The documents from his secondary school education bore Adeji Biobora Kuma as his name, while that of his university education had Deji Biobora Kuma as his name. Also, the result from his MBA certificate had Deji Biobora Kuma Wangaha as the name of the same person. The Court of Appeal in Abuja had dismissed the PDP's case and affirmed the candidacy of the deputy governor-elect in the November 16, 2019 governorship election in the state. The judgment set aside the November 12, 2019 verdict of Justice Iyangekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja, disqualifying Deji Eremionyo as the APC's deputy governorship candidate in the poll. The appellate court held that the Federal High Court judge erred in his decision, disqualifying the APC's deputy governorship candidate. It held that there were not enough grounds for the Federal High Court to rule the way it did, adding that the allegation that Deji Eremionyo gave false information to INEC was not proved as required. It faulted the law court's reliance on Section 31, subsection 5 and 6 of the Electoral Act in disqualifying the APC's deputy governorship candidate. The court added that the allegation against Deji Eremionyo were criminal in nature, which required proof beyond reasonable doubt. It said that the different names contained in the appellant's form CF001, his first school living certificate and general certificate of education, belonged to the same person, going by the supporting affidavit of change of name and newspaper publication. The appellate court therefore set aside the Federal High Court's judgment and awarded 500,000 costs against the respondents in favor of the appellants. The Federal High Court had in its judgment held that Deji Eremionyo gave false information to INEC about his academic qualifications, allegedly evidenced by the discrepancies in the names contained in his credentials. The trial court also held that the names of the different documents attached to his form, CF001, were said to be Biaborakun, Deji Eremionyo, Deji Biaboraga, Deji Biaborakuma, Adeji Biaborakuma, Deji Eremionyo Wangaha. The APC's candidate was said to have claimed to have obtained his first school living certificate in 1976 and presented to INEC a first living school certificate of one Deji Biaboraga other than the one bearing his name, Biaboraga Deji Eremienyo, as shown in his INEC form SCF-001. He was also said to have claimed to have obtained his West African Examination Council General Certificate of Education in 1984 and presented to INEC a GCE certificate of one Adeji Bibakua other than the one bearing his name, Biobora Kuma Deji Eremienyo, as shown in his INEC form CF-001. Justice Ekwo held that there was no evidence to prove that the document with different names variations were his. He ruled as, quote, I further hold that the information given by the third defendant on Form CF-001 that the documents thereto attached as his name have not by any iota of credible evidence been so established. The information is false in all material particular, as none of the said documents have any nexus with the name of the third defendant, Deji Eremienyo, on the said form SCF-001. The judge went on to make a declaration that the information which the third defendant submitted to the second defendant in his INEC form CF-001, that affidavit in support of personal particulars of the person seeking election to the office of the Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State is false, contrary to Section 31, subsection 5 of the 2010 Electoral Act as amended. And that was the information called from NANS, the news agency of Nigeria. And now, we would also look at the take of a renowned senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, before I open the lines for you to contribute, to make your calls on what do you think about this conflicting judgment from the Supreme Court. Of course, Adams Oshomole had, warned that the court have no jurisdiction, just aligning himself with Falana, that even the candidate declared to be the Bayelsa State governor now in the person of Deji, that is Diri, has no qualification because he never got the 25% votes across the 8 local governments of Bayelsa State. You could also contribute from the judgments in Imo State and Kano State, respectively. Let us have a short 1-minute break so that you can have the video of what Falana has said about the Supreme Court judgment. Stay tuned.
The issue here we have to begin to look at is that at the time of independence, I don't know if there was a trajectory to where we are going to.
But how could it be that credible, free and fair under manual conduct of election?
That is where our problem lies, and that is why people are now saying that, advising that we should move, that the world has gone into digital. We should move from the manual to the digital.
We cannot keep doing same thing and expecting a different result.
The only way you create jobs from your ministry is that you have to encourage local content.
If you look at the profile of Sally Mama,
There is a caveat in this leave given to him. He should seek medical help if he's fine.
Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria.
The profile of Sally Mama.
There is a caveat in this leave given to him. He should seek medical help if he's fine.
Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. Welcome back. While we are resolving the technical issues to providing you the take of Senior Advocate Falana we will still be waiting for you to contribute your quota as regard the topic on discussions. Some persons were calling while I was laying down the preamble. So the lines are open, and for the benefit of the vision impaired, you could call 081-3701-5949 and 070-5432-7616. You could also use that same number, the first number, 081-3701-5949 to reach us via WhatsApp call. The lines are open and you can see them directly on the screen now for you to contribute your quota. We are, for those who are just joining us, we are talking about the conflicting Supreme Court judgment with reference to the Bayelsa State verdict that dethroned David Leon and his deputy governorship candidate, DG Remianyo, who was alleged to have forged his certificate with variances of different names. And we also look into, because we're talking about conflicting judgment, the issues of Emeka Ihedioha, that dethroned him from being governor and reinstate the Governor Uzodinma of Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. And of course, that of Kano State also. While we are bringing this, we are looking at the implications also. The implications of this judgment and the review, the prospective reviews that the various parties involved have gone to the Supreme Court and asked, requesting for review. They appealed for a review. What will be your take? Will the Supreme Court review them and maintain the status quo of what the electorate seems right or deemed right by voting this candidate whom they have declared or not? And what precedents will the Supreme Court be setting in the future should they avert or a kind of review itself? If the Supreme Court review itself and give different judgment in the nearest future based on the public opinions and people, electorate agitations and clamor that some of those verdicts were not supposed to be given in favor of those incumbents now. So what is your take? You can join us. But before now, let's take a quick look at the angle where senior advocate of Nigeria, renowned senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, have to say about the Supreme Court judgment. So stay tuned for that. While the technical department are on it, I would want you to start also calling, pending when they resolved the issue of the videotape. Well, I got you online on a social media platform on Facebook. Kenneth Ankpa, I could read you. You can use this, the WhatsApp page, the WhatsApp handle instead of the Facebook comment box if possible. You can use that one to reach us too. Your comment is very hard. I don't think I could use it. It is not good on media to air this statement. It is harsh. I think we have to be civil. We are talking about nation building, and that is why we open it to audience for you to contribute civilly. Your civility should not be harsh in discharging your own right of freedom of speech. All right. This one is coming from Geoffrey Akor. Geoffrey Akor. He said, despite being the apex court, and if so, why not? The Supreme Court judgment that dethroned the Bayelsa State Governor David Leon is a welcome development for no. So it's a welcome development for the nation. Which nation? Please, Akor, if you are watching us, you can contribute. You can explain what you mean by welcome development for the nation, and please use the comment box in the Facebook page or the Twitter, if possible. Thank you. We don't understand what you mean, and we are still expecting to have the video from the technical department. While we are waiting for the video of Falana, you can please give us your contributions as the numbers are displayed on your screen already. And I will repeat it again that if you want to reach us on this program live, you could call 081-3701-5949 or 070-5432-7616, talking about conflicting judgment from the Supreme Court. What should be done? The president, should they revisit? Should they reverse themselves? Should the Supreme Court reverse itself? Was the Justice Odili's judgment okay? And that of the Supreme Court, that of the that dethroned Emeka Ihedioha, was it okay? And that of the one that enthroned Ganduje of Kano, was it okay? We still have a lingering judgment between the APC and the PDP at Zamfara State. So all this conflicting Supreme Court judgment, does it all go well with the nation? Does it speak the mind of the electorate, or it speaks the mind of certain powerful money bag politicians? What is your pick? The lines are open. You can give us your take. All right. This one said he's a barrister analyst, and is writing from Lagos. He's just a barrister analyst. Your full name is not given here, and the location where you are writing from is not detailed. He said, please, the Supreme Court seems to be divisive on political grounds. Some are giving judgment in favor of the All Progressive Congress when it seems affiliated to, when it deemed fit, and others are giving favorable judgments to the People's Democratic Party. Why should Justice Odili come with a case that has already been settled from both the High Court and the Appeal Court? A pre-election something should not be given such verdict in the Supreme Court. I think we should do better with our judicial system. Call me from barrister analyst. Thank you for your take. Barrister analyst wrote that from Lagos. Please, you don't need to hide your identity. If you are a patriotic citizen, it could be better for you to go straight and hit the nail on the head. We are still waiting for your call. While we wait for that call, I think I've been alerted that they are ready to give us the take of senior advocate Falana on the Supreme Court judgment. Take a pleasure in watching.
The mistake made by the court, by the Supreme Court, and you can't blame the court for what has become a culture, is that a pre-election matter was turned into a post-election matter. I've looked at the provisions of the Electoral Act. I've looked at the relevant provisions of the Constitution. I've not been able to locate any section of the law that empowers any court in Nigeria, including the Supreme Court, with profound respect, to cancel an election that has been concluded on the ground that a candidate was challenged before the election. Because as far as section 31, subsections 5 to 8 of the Electoral Act is concerned, what should be done? If any candidate feels that, any person feels that a candidate has given wrong information based on fraud or whatever, you can complain by filing an action at the Federal High Court or the State High Court. Once the court comes to the conclusion, subsection 5, that the information is wrong and that the person is not qualified, the court shall, at subsection 6, disqualify the candidate from contesting the election. And the political party involved, subsection 8, shall be penalized, sanctioned, and be asked to pay fine the sum of 500,000 naira. Those are the penalties prescribed by law. No other penalty is prescribed by law. And what that presupposes is that the case has to be concluded before the election. Hence, the law says the candidate shall be disqualified from contesting the election. In the case of Bayelsa State, the election was held on the basis of the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which was to the fact that, yes, this guy changed his name many times. Not that he forged any of the certificate. There was no such proof. Therefore, he can contest the election. On the basis of that judgment, the people voted, which means by that judgment, the election was valid and legal. As of that date, there was no pending appeal, whereby INEC could be accused of having violated the doctrine of lis pendens, i.e., since you knew a case was in court, why did you hold the election? As was the case. So it was after the conclusion of the election that the PDP filed an appeal in the Supreme Court. With profound respect, the attention of the Supreme Court was not drawn to the legality of that appeal. The case had become spent. So what their lordships ought to have done was to say, as the lawyers, can you address us with respect to our jurisdiction? Because Section 133 of the Electoral Act stipulates that upon the conclusion of an election, and once candidates are declared, any challenge of the conduct of the election or the qualification of the candidate shall be heard and determined by an election petition tribunal.
All right, that is Falana's take on the Supreme Court judgment. We have a caller reacting immediately through WhatsApp. Please, what is your take? Welcome to Spectacle. You are live on Spectacle. What is your take as you are watching? Your name and where you are calling from, please.
All right, my name is Ina Okopiago.
Okay, we are talking about the conflicting judgment. Yes, you can go on. From where? Ina Okopi, where? From where?
Abuja.
Okay, from Abuja. I believe you heard Falana's...
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Of course, I heard what Falana said. I watched the clip last night, and I think I align completely with Falana's position. Even though I'm not a lawyer, I still think that it would help deepen the democratic process. But then the other thing I'd like to add, I think that for APC to have applied for a review of this judgment by the Supreme Court as it concerns the Bayelsa ownership. One thing it would do, if that judgment is reversed, two things. It would put a serious light on the what do I say? On the
Supreme Court.
Character of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Because even if they accept that it was a mistake, anytime after this, if they give any judgment, people would like to say, we know them. This was what they did the last time. And it brings me to my second point.
Okay.
We, like I said the last time I was on the program,
Yeah.
we must get the democratic process correct.
Okay.
So we do not burden the Supreme Court judges with all these judgments. If we get governance within parties correctly, if the people who are supposed to have looked at the result of what you call it, the man who was not allowed to continue, I'm talking of David Leon's deputy. If they had looked at it, they would have drawn his attention to the different names. I understand that the results are not exactly forged, but they had different names. If they had people who looked at it, we would not have to the Supreme Court. Even if you go to the Supreme Court, it won't be on the basis of submitting results that were not genuine. I don't know if you understand. So I think we should get governance structures, governance.
All right.
Correctly within party structures. Do it well, and then we won't have any problem going to the Supreme Court. And of course, INEC must play its part. And I also think, if you allow me to add, I think INEC, in my opinion, erred in going ahead with that declaration. If I was INEC, I would have asked the Supreme Court to explain itself. Because some sections in the Electoral Act, if INEC had referred to that, they would not have gone ahead with it. They were supposed to have gone back to the Supreme Court to ask the Supreme Court, please explain to us what you mean. This is the document. It's in conflict with what the Electoral Act says. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, we are getting
So that
you.
will be my take for now.
Thank you very much. Your take. You are in support that the Supreme Court should review itself in Bayelsa, isn't it?
Of course.
All right. Yeah, that was Ina Okopi from Abuja. Thank you for calling. And of course,
thank you, sir.
Thank you. While we wait for your calls, you have heard the take of Femi Falana on this issue that he emphatically said that is a pre-election matter, that the Supreme Court is not supposed to treat it like a post-election matter, judging from the fact that the appeal court and the high court have set aside that judgment, and affidavits were duly cross-checked before his candidature. I'm talking about Deji was upheld to merge with David Leon. We are going to watch the drama, and we are going to be bringing you live from the match March 2nd, they placed the judgment for March 2nd, 2020. We'll be there to feed you with the proceedings, and we hope that these precedents will not be awkward against the Nigerian judiciary and its integrity. I think for lack of time, we may want to call it a quit from here if we do not have any other contribution from now. But I'm sorry I was taking a longer preamble for those who were agitating to quickly give us their takes. But any moment we'll be bringing you a detailed documentary, looking at the conflicting Supreme Court judgments and what next to do to save the image of the judiciary and to also uphold democracy in Nigeria. I have been your host, Daniel Atai. You can follow us on our social media platforms and drop your comments. They will strictly be taken and put into consideration. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.